Hello everyone, Giltar here with part 2 of my review of the 1:144 scale high-grade Universal Century MSN-04 Sazabi model kit. Now I'm showing you guys the high-grade Universal Century new Gundam, just to give you guys an idea of how it measures up to its arch rival. Obviously Amuro Ray pilots the new Gundam and Char Aznable pilots the Sazabi. As you can see, the new Gundam is no slouch in the scale and size department as well, but still it's shorter and smaller than the Sazabi, and even with the heavy weapon system components, it's almost on par with the Sazabi. It's still not quite as bulky, even with all the extra components. So I'll just move the new Gundam aside here. One thing I did forget to mention in part 1 was the marking seals and stickers, and which I'll show here. Basically, we have Char's crest, I think the Neo Zeon crest, and a circular green sticker for the mono eye. Now the mono eye is obviously housed in the head. You remove the top part of the helmet to reveal it. It's kind of hard to see, to be honest. Even in person, it's quite tiny. But then you can actually, just to let you guys know, the mono eye is there, and it can be moved, left and right to position its eye, basically. Something else I forgot to mention in part 1 is the detailing of certain parts. Basically, the back of the tricep here, there are twin pistons. They don't move or anything, but it's a nice detail to see, similar to the new Gundam where it had the pistons visible in the knees and ankles. And the Sazabi again has some other details in the ankles and knees as well. Not as great as the new Gundam, but still very nice indeed. Now overall, that's pretty much my review of the model kit for all the accessories and details and such. So I'll move into my pros and cons right now, and I'll start off with my cons as usual. And really I only have one negative point, one criticism, which is the weight of the model kit. For something that is this large and uses as much plastic as it does, it is very heavy, and unfortunately, like the new Gundam, it is not well suited to ground-based posing. You really do need an action base to bring out the full display potential of this model kit. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the Sazabi and the new Gundam are both designed for space combat, so they're more, I guess, well suited to sort of flying poses. And another thing about the weight issue is just you can't avoid the weight issue in this. Like the new Gundam, if you're going to have all this plastic in one model kit, it's going to cause some weight problems. It just has a lot of material to deal with. So it isn't something that is honestly avoidable, because if you made parts out of thinner plastic or lighter weight plastics, it's probably going to be more fragile. And so, I mean, the weight problem is there, but again, it's not difficult to remedy that problem at all. And the problem is not even related to articulation as well. I mean, one would think there could be some articulation problems. As mentioned in part 1, it actually has a very good range of articulation, especially when you consider the proportions. It's just that in certain poses, the weight will tend to make it tip over. So you do have to sort of maneuver the limbs and different parts of the body fairly carefully in order to get into a stable pose. And even when it's in a stable pose, the sheer weight of the parts will cause the joints not to really move, but it is still a bit wobbly, so to speak. So that's it for really my main and only criticism of the model kit. I'll go into my pros. I'll start off with the articulation, because I mentioned that last. It has really good articulation for what it is. I mean, 90-degree bends at the knees and elbows. Well, at the elbows, at the knees, it actually is over 90 degrees. Great articulation for the ankles and feet, despite lower, large lower leg armor bits. Good articulation for the arms. Really good for the shoulders, because you can go in and out. You have extra points of articulation, like the propellant tanks, the funnel racks, the back skirt, which is usually, immobile, stationary in many model kits. This is a large back skirt, and it has articulation, so that's impressive to me as well. So yeah, it has not only a good range of articulation for its points, or its joints rather, but it has multiple points of articulation in other bits too. And I actually forgot to mention, and I'll sort of reiterate again, the shoulder armor have 2 bits here, so again, it's just another bit of articulation you can take into consideration when you pose this model kit for display purposes. So it's really nice, and to be frank, once you get an action base, it'll be even easier to get this into really nice looking poses for for display. Another pro I have is related to articulation, again, I have to mention one more time, I go on about it all the time, but I really love the neck component here. I mean, it's just great for giving and adding rather an overall nice, bulky looking appearance. You don't have a little thin pencil neck. And when it looks up and down, or rather up especially, you can get an up looking pose, a tilted head up, and you do have still a significant looking neck column. So I mean, that's the great thing about this neck. It not only adds functionality, but it also adds to the appearance of the model kit. The overall details on the sculpt is nice as well. I mean, the Sazabi is by no means an intricate design. You don't get a lot of really crazy looking details like, say, an Astray red frame or blue frame or green frame or gold frame or any of the frames. Like, those are really crazy detailed mobile suit designs. But despite that, the Sazabi has some really nice touches. The sculpting is nice. It doesn't need to be overly busy in terms of a visual sense to make it look good. It has the forms, in fact. I think, aside from the sculpted details like the vents back here, the thrusters all around, pistons, and other details, I think the overall form of the Sazabi is very, very, very cool, because while it's big and bulky, the angles of all these parts turn inwards and forward. Similar to the Alia Armor Core model I reviewed a little while ago, despite large and sort of seemingly unwieldy proportions and body parts, the way that the forms are all sort of pointing forward and inward towards the center makes it a very aggressive looking design, and it gives it a sense of velocity, of momentum. Even though it's standing still, it makes it look like it could sort of go forward at any moment and go into an attack. So I like the look and style of the Sazabi. It's one of my favorite mobile suits for sure. It's just a really great design. And the accessories, I mean, there's not too many. We get 2 beam sabers, one sort of large beam sword, beam axe accessory, a beam rifle and a shield, and the funnels. And you're not getting a lot of accessories, but I think less is more in most cases, because to have something loaded down with weapons and such is great just for having it, but at the same time you're often left with a whole bunch of extra bits sort of sitting off to the side if they're not used. And so I think the Sazabi has a nice balance. It has just enough weaponry to make it look really intimidating, but not so few that you kind of feel sort of cheated in this model. You get a ranged weapon, funnels as additional ranged weapons, a little missiles there, and then you have some really nice melee weapons. So it's a great blend of different accessories for the Sazabi to be displayed with. And finally, the best point I think about this for some people would be the fact that it's extremely large. I mean, it's a large mobile suit, and thus in this scale it is a towering design and is nearly on par with many master grade 1-100 designs out there. So for many people, the whole physical presence of the model kit is a great bonus. I mean, this is one of the largest high grade kits there are. I mean, the Kshatriya is one of the larger ones. There's some other ones I'm looking to get, like the Palace Athene, I think is what it's called. The Ashamar is one I got recently, which is another larger high-grade design as well. So for those out there who really like the master grade or the 1-100 scale and similarly sized model kits, the Sazabi will be a very nice addition to your collection as well. So overall, I definitely recommend this model kit, but again, I do have to bring up the point of the weight issue and the fact that you really do need an action base to really bring out the full display potential of this model. It's not a large investment. It's only like maybe another $10 at most. I've seen the price range wildly from store to store, but I mean, I've never seen an action base for more than $10. So you're not investing a lot of extra money for something that has the ability to add a lot of extra functionality to the display value of your model kit, whether it's the Sazabi or something else. So, I mean, with all the good points of this model kit, I can't see a reason why not to get it. And in fact, I would say you might want to get this over the Master Grade, because like the new Gundam, both the Sazabi and New Gundam in Master Grade form are somewhat old in terms of their design, and I'm pretty sure we'll get a version 2.0 or some sort of upgrade in the foreseeable future, which will give us better proportions and better engineering and design of those model kits. So for now, you might want to consider getting the high-grade Universal Century version instead. So those are my, final thoughts on this really great model kit. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and got something out of it. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.